So in today's video, I want to talk about James chapter 4, verse 4, and what message that James the Apostle was trying to send to us when he made the statements that he made in that verse. And to begin, we're going to go through what he said in that verse, right? He said, "Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God." So, first of all, he mentions adulterers and adulteresses, right? The male adulterer and the female adulterer. At first, we may think of the physical adultery, right? A man taking another man's wife, or a woman violating the contract she had with her husband by engaging in sexual intercourse with another man. That's probably what comes to our mind first, and that's okay if it does. But it's important that we take it a step further than that, because as we'll discover, it's certainly more than that. And to understand how it's more than that, let's look at the rest. James the Apostle is talking about being a friend of the world. So what is the world exactly that James the Apostle is talking about here? It's not the physical world, because if you read Genesis chapter 1, verse 31, God said that he liked the world that he made. And I don't assume that would change, right? If you read Isaiah chapter 45, verse 18, he formed the world to be inhabited. And in Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 4, that would remain perpetually. So it's not that world. It's the world that Jesus was talking about in John chapter 17, verses 14 and 16, where it was like, "I am not of the world. My apostles are not of the world." It was the world John was talking about when he said, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world." If you read 1 John chapter 2, verses 15 to 17. The world we're talking about here is the system of things that exist today. The systems, the institutions, the cultures and traditions, the social norms, and other stuff that man has set up that are in opposition to the laws of God. For example, if God Almighty says that children should be raised in his fear, the world, for example, has a different view, that children shouldn't be raised in his fear. Children should be able to do whatever they want. Children should be able to disobey their parents. That's the opposite view. And you see many countries where that is done, and so on and so on. So if you are a friend of that system, friend meaning, because it's not a physical friendship, you are a sympathizer. You believe in that system. You believe in the philosophy that does not come from the Bible, but that is against the Bible, because anything not of the Bible is against the Bible. That's what Jesus Christ said, "He that gathereth not with me scattereth," right? So anything that is not from God is against the will of God. So when you are a friend of that, when you believe in that, when you think from that, then you are in fact an enemy of God, because your reasoning now is against the principles of God. Like maybe if the Bible promotes marriages remaining together, but you subscribe to ideas that people should be able to separate whenever they want without any penalty. That's a worldly idea, because it's against the idea that God had, that, what God hath put together, let no man put asunder. If you read Matthew chapter 19, verses 1 to 9. So what James is saying here is that if we as Christians buy into the ideas that are sold in the world, the ideas we see on television, the ideas that we see on YouTube, right, on social media, the ideas that the government is trying to promote about how to raise a family, about what to eat, and how to live a life that don't come from God, then we are committing adultery. Because in Exodus chapter 20, verses 3 to 5, God spoke about how thou shalt have no other gods before me. Now, what are those gods that he was talking about? Many times we like to think of the statues that people used to worship, Baal in the Bible, Ashtaroth, but people don't worship those things anymore. Right? They're gone, because anything that doesn't come from God has an end, right? So then we think, oh yeah, we're better than those people because we don't worship those gods, those silly gods that they did. Well, not really. Money is a big god now, right? Anybody who doesn't have money now is seen like he isn't successful, like he isn't as much of a human being as somebody who does have a lot of money. Money is more than just a means of survival now. Money is now like, you should make money for its own sake kind of thing. People can divorce because they want money, and that's common. People can disobey their parents because they want money. People can abandon their families because they want money. If we can neglect our spiritual obligations because of something that isn't spiritual that we see in the world, then whatever that thing is our God now. And we are now committing adultery with that thing. So we can see that adultery is a little bit more broad than just the one you commit physically with a human being. Every sin, in fact, is adultery. Because you're committing that sin because you want something, or you want to avoid something that you hold in higher esteem than God. So if we want to be on his side, then the point is for him to be higher than all other things that are in our lives. Doesn't mean we won't make money. Doesn't mean we won't become professors, educated. Doesn't mean we won't achieve whatever worldly success we want to achieve. But it is when that worldly success becomes our driver, when worldly success is a must, when worldly success becomes what's in our prayers, what's in our dreams. It becomes what we use to decide who to marry, when to have children, and how many children to have. So I think this is what James was trying to get at when he was making that statement. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God, like it's against God's purpose? And whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God. And the Bible talks about how God will eventually get rid of his enemies. His sword is made ready. Read Psalm 7, verses 11. In essence, we don't want to be like that. We want to be on his side. We want to be faithful. And so James is reminding us of that. So I think that's what I'll say on that. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.